Share with you the quick story of Fred Smith. He's a founder of FedEx. And honestly, in the last 3 to 5 years, I've personally spent so much time reading and watching material about a lot of different people who've started these big companies. I just find it really fascinating and like incredibly inspiring because most of these stories you probably have not heard, but they are like downright insane. And it just like, it's very motivating and encouraging to see some of these people start from zero to to these massive companies, things that they've achieved. And these stories are incredible. So one that I've been learning recently is about Fred Smith. Okay, so I'm gonna make this less than 5 minutes, but this is like mostly for me to just document these lessons. But my hope is that they can encourage you in any way as possible. And it's going to be less than 5 minutes, promise you that. So Fred Smith, he wrote a paper on FedEx, his idea during Harvard, when his last year at Harvard. And really his idea and his concept was that shipping out individual boxes to in random locations specifically was not very efficient. The more efficient way would be to create these centralized hubs and like fly out the majority of packages to like these big city hubs, and then eventually distribute them out better. So that was his idea. Now he did grow up from a pretty wealthy background. His dad owned like a big portion of Greyhound buses, and so with that being said, he inherited $5 million from his dad. Okay, but he used all of it to start FedEx. All right, so two stories I want to share with you. There was a point where he ran out of money and he was so desperate for money, he only had 5 grand to make payroll. And so he was in the military, he went to college, and so he just thought, all right, I'm just going to go to Vegas and gamble the rest of my earnings. And he had like 50 employees at that point. He gambled $5,000. He was able to make enough to like have enough payroll for about 3 to 5 months, which is insane. Okay. Like think about the guts that you got to have to just like, you're like things are going so crappy, and then you're just going to risk it all like that. I mean, like, I love that. Like, that is like perseverance to its core. After that, he eventually came into more troubles and he went to his sister for help. He had two sisters. They inherited a ton of money as well, and they thought he was pretty crazy. Okay. And he went to his sisters and she said, no, I will not give you my inheritance for this company. I don't believe in it. And so he was able to somehow talk her in to essentially signing a document that guaranteed a loan or guaranteed payment for a loan from the bank. Meaning if he defaulted on his payments, his sister basically signed this paper and said, hey, if the payments don't happen, I have this inheritance, $5 million, and here's proof of it. And therefore, it's a guaranteed loan payback. Here's the thing. It wasn't real. He made it up. He forged this letter, which is financial fraud. Okay. But the banks went along with it and he got the money and it worked out. And started like things started to really turn around. But now, shortly after that, I can't remember how long ago, his sister sued him. Okay. His sister sued him. His family basically sued him for doing that. And he had a bunch of these lawsuits against him. Okay. Somehow he talked himself, he was able to talk his way out of all of those lawsuits. Okay. Wasn't in trouble. And also got this huge, essentially, contract from the United States government, from banks, because banks needed to transport huge allotments of money between banks. Okay. And this was like you got to realize this was like before UPS, USPS, like all these like shipping companies. And so they didn't have that. And so that was how he was able to, essentially, grow his company. What I want to get to, like the TLDR, like therefore what do we take off from this? Okay. What I've really learned and what I keep reminding to myself is, essentially with your goals, only three things happen. You either give up, okay, so you quit, The next is it eventually gets easier. It always does. Okay. Something that you do every day gets easier over time. Okay. And so you're essentially getting better. And then that's going to lead into the third thing that eventually always happens. You just get better. And with time of it getting easier and you get better, you always achieve it. Okay. Like I said, the only thing that will make it not work out is if you give up. Okay. And so I love this example. I love that he is still alive. You know, stories like these, like this, do not make out into the public much, but it's so inspiring to see someone like him, someone who essentially had his life set up. He had $5 million. Okay, what was back in like the 50s or 60s? He could have like just chilled for his whole life, but he risked it for the biscuit, and that is very admirable. Because if you think about it, like, you know, with that kind of money, we'd all probably want to play it safe. We wouldn't want to like risk it all. And even though he was privileged, like he didn't consider himself like, oh, I'm so much better. He really bet on himself. Okay. So want to share this with you. More to come, but hopefully this is inspiring to you. And if so, hit the like button and thanks for watching.